Hello and welcome to this Express Franchise webinar today with Pets, Homes and Gardens. We've got Ritchie Clarke here, who's both been a franchisee of Pets, Homes and Gardens and also now is the owner of the franchise. And he's based in Southampton. And we've also got Danny Nagus here, who is a franchisee. So we can get all different perspectives on the franchise. So welcome, both of you.
Thank you, Mandy.
Thank you.
Very nice to see you here. So the format of today's webinar is going to be, I'm going to ask some questions, find out a little bit more about how, what's involved in running a Pets, Homes and Gardens franchise and how Ritchie and Danny got into it, and all sorts of other issues about the support and things that franchisees get. And then there's a 20 minutes at the end where you can ask questions and put them to Danny and Ritchie. You just put them in the chat, put your questions in the chat, and I will put them straight to Danny and Ritchie at the end. Brilliant. So I guess we should get started, Ritchie. So how did the franchise come into being in the first place, and how did you get involved?
Oh, hi, Mandy, and thank you everyone for coming on today. We really appreciate this. And the Pets, Homes and Gardens company is a very special brand to all of us in the PHG family. And it was actually set up by Peter and Julie Maxted back in 2009, who are just incredible people, absolute animal lovers and real entrepreneurs as well. They knew exactly where the gap in the market was. And in 2009, they had dogs, cats, a series of pets. I think they even had tortoises. And it was kind of trying to find a reliable pet care business that they could actually trust with all of their pets. It was a huge challenge trying to find somebody, and that ultimately they couldn't. It meant that they had to put their dogs in the kennels, which they weren't happy with, had to put the cats in a cattery. The tortoise had to go somewhere, and you kind of had three separate services when going away on holiday. It was a real hassle. And of course, you still have the trust issue then when they're in the kennels and the catteries. How good are these businesses? Can they be trusted? Are they reliable? So really what it led them to do is actually establish the Pets, Homes and Gardens company so they could fill that void in the market. Now, the reason behind the name Pets, Homes and Gardens is quite interesting, actually. So pets is, of course, the core. But what I wanted to do is build a brand which actually stood out from the market because, as always, there's competition. And competition, as I've learned, is actually a good thing because what it does is it shows there's a real market for our services. So immediately, as the entrepreneurs they are, is they thought, well, what brand can we create that allows us to stand out? So the Pets, Homes and Gardens is exactly what they created for that reason. So the homes aspect relates to the fact that we go into our clients' homes and look after their pets in situ. So if they're away on holiday, rather than them having to go to the cattery, we go in and we look after their cats once or twice a day, following the exact routine that they're used to.
Yeah.
We also do the same for their rabbits, small animals. We walk their dogs on lead while they're actually at work. So that's the home side of it. And then the garden side is actually an interesting one because actually what they found is when owners went away on holiday, they also asked us to water the plants inside their, their house.
Yeah.
And then you had the plants in the garden. So actually Pets, Homes and Gardens, they put together this brand and it just looks fantastic. And what we found is people, when they see this brand and they see the name and they realise, okay, this is a trustworthy brand here, it instantly adds a layer of trust for new customers. And that's ultimately why they franchised 3 years later in 2012, because they just saw the level of demand for their all-encompassing pet care services.
Yeah, absolutely. And so how did they build the franchise business over time, and when did you come on board?
Yeah, so Peter and Julie's number one priority was really to find the right people. So their values were very much the level of care that franchisees provided. So it was all about passion for pets, pride in the service that was being delivered, and empathy for the owners. Because, of course, it's important to understand that when owners go away on holiday or they go out to work and leave their dog with you, you're being trusted with their house keys and their beloved pet, which is ultimately seen as a member of the family. So they, rather than rushing out and trying to find every franchisee, they actually took it and made sure that the perfect people came into the franchise. So it's intentionally small for that reason. And with the family run values, it means that we know every single franchisee's name in the business. And we have excellent direct personal relationships with all of them. So the support is personalized. And that was really the way they built the franchise. It was a case of anybody that comes on, we know them all by name. We know their pets' names, and we get on like a house on fire because we share that same passion. So there's actually 13 franchisees under the PHG brand at the moment. And Amber and I are leading the franchise with the exact same values and goals. Because as a franchisee, when we joined in 2018, running PHG Southampton, we immediately connected with Peter and Julie and the brand's values. So the saying, don't break something that isn't broken, or don't fix something that isn't broken, was very much the case here. And what we're doing is we're running the franchise with the same values and only accepting people into the PHG family who share our values.
Brilliant. And are those 13 franchisees, are they across, the whole of the UK, or are they in particular parts of the UK?
Absolutely. So the franchisees are dotted around various parts of the UK, predominantly in the sort of Sussex and Surrey area, because the business was actually founded in Horsham. But we do have franchisees up in Whitley Bay, Stockton-on-Heath, Stockton Tees, and we've recently, we're in the process of onboarding a brand new franchisee up from around the Midlands area in Worcestershire. So yes, we're dotted in various parts of the UK, but predominantly in the south. The main thing for us is that when franchisees come on board, we can have that sort of really in-depth relationship where we can provide direct support to them, whether that be on the video call or us actually coming up in person, which is what we like to do.
Yeah, great. And what did you do before, Ritchie?
So
you took this big step?
Yes, it was a very big step, to be fair. And I had a tourism management degree from Bournemouth University, so I kind of describe it as a business degree with tourism examples. I always worked very hard. I got a first class degree, did well at school, and I was quite academic. So I wanted to apply those skills in the workplace, trying to find something in the tourism sector, because another passion of mine is travel. I love pets, but I also love travel. That's how my wife and I actually met as well at Bournemouth University, and we went sort of out following graduation into various roles in employed roles, which I just never got on with. I worked as an analyst. I'm very much I'm quite good with numbers and Excel spreadsheets, so I worked as a business analyst for a major cruise company in Southampton. And it just didn't fit right with me. I like to be out in fresh air and have a very much a hands-on practical role. So I kind of, rather than trying to justify my tourism management degree, I kind of made the decision that actually I've got to do something that I love, and that would involve two things. It will involve working with animals, because that's my number one passion. I'm the kind of person that if I see a dog in the street, I can't help but say hello. I'm one of those annoying people. But also I wanted to work for myself, because what I was finding I was really working hard in various employed roles, but there was not really the appreciation there. Not that I was always looking for it, but you could just see that it was almost expected for you to almost kill yourself working so hard, and your salary was consistent with, say, your peers who may not be working as hard as you. So I thought, no, I want to do something where actually my level of effort is paid accordingly in something that I absolutely love to do, which meant I had to go out and work for myself. So that's really how it all came about. I just made the decision to take the leap, and discovering the Pets, Homes and Gardens company in 2018 was just a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, you haven't looked back. No. You're not missing the office and analysis. Brilliant. And what about the economic sort of, you mentioned that that Pets, Homes and Gardens grew based on the demand, and that's why it was franchised in the first place. Is that still the case, that there's what's the economic outlook for a business like Pets Homes and Garden?
Absolutely. I think it's a very good question there, Mandy, because it's an important consideration. I mean, we are now living in turbulent times. I think turbulence is the new norm in today's world. You've got the technological side with AI, massive technological developments going on everywhere. And then, of course, you've got the economic side. You look at what's going on in the Middle East, in the Ukraine. You've got various things going on geopolitically, which can influence the economy within the UK. Now, the attraction for me when I researched the pet care sector was its resilience to external shocks. Excuse me. So from an AI and technology point of view, we're never going to be replaced by AI, because ultimately humans are needed to deliver the pet care services, whether it be dog walking, home pet visits, house sitting. So that was a major attraction. Doesn't matter how rapidly technology develops, we're always going to be needed. It's very much an evergreen industry. But also on the other side, economically, what we've seen is the pet care sector is extremely resilient. So as it currently stands, the UK pet services sector is worth £993 million, and it's growing at 7.6% on average annually. And there's a major segment of the market that are looking for the very best. So trustworthy companies that will provide the best level of care to their pets. And that's exactly the segment of the market which we target. So what we established was, joining in 2018, the resilience very much is there, because it's okay. You Googled it online and you think, yeah, it looks resilient, but have we ever put it to the test? Now, the big test was COVID. We in 2018 had a brilliant business for 2 years. COVID came along and we were told by the government we couldn't carry out the services and had to stay at home. I had a mortgage to pay, financial commitments. Excuse me, I'm just going to take a drink of water, if that's okay.
Yeah, no, don't worry. Yes. Yeah, it's really interesting because, it's a similar thing sometimes with children as well. I guess Britain is a nation of pet lovers. And it's proven that, people maybe don't, that one of the, things that they don't scrimp, if they're trying to save money, they don't want to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they love their pets.
And that was a real relief as well, because the lockdown restrictions, there was a paradigm shift in the way things were working for people in employment. Rather than going in the office, they're now working from home. Now, a big part of our business is regular dog walking services. Now, if the customers are at home, are they going to need us? That was a question we had. And we thought, no, we've worked too hard to just throw this business down the drain. We are going to stick this out and we'll make it work no matter what. And what happened when lockdown restrictions were lifted, much to our surprise, is we retained every one of our customers. They all stayed on board, but also business came in like out of the woodwork, because people bought new pets, but also even though they're working from home, they still want us to walk their dogs and to look after their pets, because they want that break halfway through the day, but they also want their dogs socialized and to be out with other dogs and to be out with us as humans for that enrichment, and ultimately really to have the best possible life they can have. Because let's face it, dogs, cats, pets, they do have short lives. And the owners we target, the customers we target, want the absolute best for their pets. So it's a real relief to see business take off the moment restrictions were lifted. And I think we can all agree that the COVID period was probably the toughest economic period in recent history. So the fact that our business thrived the moment we were able to go back to work does demonstrate absolutely that this is a resilient industry to work in.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I'm absolutely sure that COVID, it can't get that much worse than that in terms of the kind of work that you do and the fact that you weren't able to do it. Yeah. So in terms of the actual how it all works, how much is a franchise to buy, and then what do you, I guess you get out of it what you put into it. So
you do. That's right. Yes, absolutely. And it's one of the, shall we say, the biggest benefits among several others of joining the Pets Homes and Gardens franchise. It's certainly what allowed Amber and I to enter the industry when we joined PHG Southampton in 2018, was the low joining fee. Ordinarily the pet care franchises which I saw just were huge barriers to entry because of the high joining fees, whereas the joining fee for PHG is 2,995, which is a massively low fee in comparison to competitors. And it's low for a reason, because what we want to do is attract the very best. We want those who align with our values, who have a real passion for animals, want to take pride in the work that they do and work hands-on with pets every day. Because at PHG franchisees, they're owner-operated franchises. So essentially, you as the owner of the business are personally delivering the service. So those are the people we're looking for. And the franchise fee of 2,995 is there really to remove the barriers of entry that you traditionally see with franchises, and it allows us to attract the very best. So what that does is it's all encompassing, the joining fee. It gets you a very comprehensive onboarding program, so that come training, you have the training weekends and then you're ready to go live. You've got your uniform, you've got your graphics pack, your website is live, your social pages are there, your Google page is there, you've got multiple online qualifications, a very comprehensive customer portfolio, and ultimately you're in a position to hit the ground running. Plus, of course, you've got Amber and I there to support you as well. And that support is personalised to you, because what we understand is franchisees who join the PHG family want a business that works for them. It's important that they enjoy what they do. So we've basically built the package around that. So it's very bespoke in terms of the equipment we supply you. We understand what it is you want to do in PHG, whether it's dog walking only, or you might want to do dog walking, home pet visits, house sitting, the full spectrum of services. Once we understand that, we then tailor your onboarding to exactly your requirements. We want it to be a joy for you to run for the long term.
So there's lots of different opportunities, as you said. You can do it in different ways. You can flex it according to, I guess, the hours that you want to put in, but also the things that you're more interested in doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a real flexible opportunity. And I think the reason being is because we're all different. We all have different goals and ambitions. We're all, at different stages of our lives. We have some franchisees who are in their late 20s. In fact, we're training a new franchisee at the end of April who's in her early 20s, and we have some other franchisees who are in their 60s. So there's a varying age range there, and we're not worried about age. It's about that passion and people who just want to do something that they can actually run for themselves, but with support from the credible franchise. And I think that flexibility is a great thing. We don't say you must have a van or you must, have X, Y, Z. It's about you having the business that works for you.
And then when somebody comes to you and it shows an interest and they're like trying to find out a little bit more about you, do you put them in touch with other franchisees or their case studies, that kind of thing, so they can kind of picture themselves in it or ask the questions that they might want to ask before they take the next step?
Absolutely. And that was one of the biggest draws for me as well. When I spoke to Peter Maxted, who founded the business, when I spoke to him in 2018 looking to join, that was one of the first things he said is, look, here's a link to our franchisee page. Reach out to any one of them, ask them any questions you want, and they will happily answer, which I did. I called 2 or 3, and that just gave me so much confidence, because he didn't give me a specific franchisee to call. He said call any of them, and get it straight from them, in their perspective on that. And that's exactly what we encourage new franchisees or prospective franchisees to do, is to call other PHG franchisees with questions and to get their kind of experience as PHG franchisees. But also there's excellent shadowing opportunities as well. So say you do decide to join, then what you've got is opportunities to shadow myself and Amber running PHG Southampton, and we offer the full suite of services. But there's also the opportunity to shadow other franchisees as well, because ultimately we all run our businesses slightly differently. And once we understand the kind of business you want to run, it allows us to tailor your onboarding program, including your shadowing. And it just allows you to have a day actually on the front line to see a real live PHG business in action. And yeah, for me, that was just a big game changer because it allowed me to apply the practical side to all of the theory that I was learning during onboarding.
I guess then when you actually become a franchisee, you've also got that sort of range of people that you can tap into. If, you know, when you're starting, you've got a question about something or other, and other franchisees have already done that thing and they've met that, they've hit that barrier or whatever it might be. You can ask for advice from the group.
Oh, fantastic. And that was another big draw for me, was the PHG forum. So this forum has been live from the moment, you know, Peter and Julie franchised PHG. So you're looking at more or less 15 years worth of golden content. And what happens is on the forum, which you have access to the moment you join, is you can ask questions to your peers on the forum. And you know, I've looked back to the day dot when we took over the franchise, just because I was interested in looking at all of the questions that were asked previously. And it's a gold mine of content. You literally just run a search on the forum for the question that you have. And it's more than likely probably been asked previously. But you can call franchisees, you can ask questions, new questions on the forum. Even if they've been asked previously, you can still ask the question again, because you might get fresh new perspective on that. You know, not franchisees may not always want to reach out to Amber and I directly. Of course, they absolutely can, but sometimes they like to just get a broad perspective and overview on it from say multiple franchisees. And it's really interesting because you see the broad perspective on a certain, shall we say, topic, whether it be how would you approach this situation here, or okay, I'm looking to price a multi-pet house sit. It's got, you know, there's 4 dogs I've got to look after, 3 cats, 7 birds. How would you price this? And you know, it's a really helpful tool. In fact, quite useful to get that broad perspective from the PHG forum, from your peers across the PHG family.
Yeah. And that's one of the big benefits of a franchise business, rather than just setting up on your own, isn't it? You've got that group, you've got that support, but you've also got the kind of tried and tested business model, but also the name that's, you know, recognizable brand and all of that kind of thing. Yeah, fantastic. Well, I want to bring Danny in here. Hi Danny.
Hello.
And you came to Pets, Homes and Gardens in a kind of an interesting way, so let me know a little bit about how that came about.
Yeah, so I was originally a customer of Pets, Homes and Gardens, and I think I was impressed from day one when they come in to see us to walk my 2 dogs, which was, you know, a big thing for me to let someone take my dogs out. And then we got told the news, which was a terrible day, that our guy was retiring. And we both looked at each other and what we're going to do. And I'd retired 2 years previous, was just wandering around doing stuff. It was I had to do something, so we spoke to Russ, who was our guy, sat down with us, spoke to us all the way through it. And as Ritchie just said, he offered me, do you want to come out for the day to see if you like it? And I was like, yeah, that'd be really good. And from that day on, I haven't looked back really, because then I was introduced to Ritchie and Amber, and everything else, any information I wanted was there at a fingertip or a text. And we've always said, if we text anybody within on the forum or on the group, you normally get an answer back within 3 or 4 minutes, which is really good, and that really impressed us. So we then come on board after going out. I went out and met the customers, done a really good professional handover, and haven't looked back since. It's been really good.
When was that, Danny?
Last October.
Yeah. Okay. And what were you doing before you retired?
I was a police officer.
Can you bring any of those skills to the?
Yeah, I was a police officer. So my job range was very different, but it you know, that for me, my biggest, I don't want to say concern, because I didn't really have a concern, but coming out of that and into my own business, you know, business insurance, vans, and how I set a business up. I mean, I was very lucky because I had Russell, and who was showing me, and I took over from him. But you know, I didn't know about business insurance or anything like that, and the support I got from everybody was, you know, this is who we use, this is what we do, this is how we run it. So for me, it was really good.
Set up your business really, if you haven't done it before?
No, it was all new to me, and to say this, and I think I was a bit nervous at first. I'm going into this venture, and I love animals and I love everything about animals, but it was the business side that I needed the help with, and I had support from day one, even before I joined. I was shown it, took out a shadow, and there was no chasing. It was, you come back to us with questions or what you need to know, and as was just said earlier, here's numbers, ring who you want to ring out, or talk to who you want to ring. And I got all that support. And when I joined, I was getting texts from other franchisees welcome me to the group, which I thought was really nice.
That's wonderful. And the onboarding process itself, the training and everything, what did that involve? How many days? It
was a weekend. Well, I think we was probably a little bit different and drove them a little bit mad because we were new to it. So we was asking questions that other people might have known, but all the time we were apologising because obviously going into it was a venture. So we wanted to make sure that we had everything where we needed it, and every answer we got back, and we asked the same question a few times to different people and got the same answer back.
Yeah. Any kind of challenges along the way? Becomes certain things more difficult, or trickier than you thought, or somebody's come up with multiple pets. That's the pricing for multiple pets. Okay.
But once again, I think for me it was I was lucky because I took over a business, so a lot of the pricing, but pricing changes. Customers ask questions about pricing or about, because obviously you're new, so they've seen you're a new face, so they want to ask you about stuff. And once again, to get it right and to keep in line with everyone, we went to Ritchie and Amby, and we got them answers really quickly. And this is how we would do. You're not told this is what we want. It's your business. That's always what we're told. But this is our advice, and that runs from everything from even down to, do we have the van signed? And the help and support we got off that was amazing. And so for us, it's just that support and trying only to contact them now when we need them. But if you speak to them, it's like, no, come to us for anything.
Is marketing and sort of getting the name out there, do you get support with that? Or it sounds like there were already, there was already a business, there were already customers there for the taking kind of thing. But in terms of sort of getting your name out there, do you get support with that?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing is I wasn't the most professional person on media or anything like Facebook or Google. So on the training that we attended, that was all shown. We were shown that and shown how to put, one of the things for me is I wasn't aware of how to put videos on and show that sort of stuff. And that was shown on the training. So the training was tailored to us of, what do you need? Well, I don't know a lot about online services and how we do that. So and there was time to sit back and, this is what we do, this is how you do it, this is what you look for, and Google reviews and where you get them from. And it was all shown on the training, which was really good for me. And we went away and practiced, and I've always put videos on there.
Are you able? So have you built? So have you got more customers since you launched and took on new customers?
For getting an understanding of the media and the Google and the Facebook and just really the van. I spoke to Ritchie for ages about the van. We've got a bit of a thing about vans. But we speak for a long time, and it was shall I shan't I sign the van and I it's parked across the road, and I often see people just taking photos to get the number and going on the hashtag side of it, which you had to learn on the train. Sorry, you cut out.
Oh, sorry, I was just asking the van. How does that come up? Is that extra, or you buy a van and then you get the kind of signage to put on the van, or what?
So we had a van, and we just purchased a new van, which was great fun for me and Ritchie. So it's for me, it's learning. So what we had and what we can do to make it better, and how does this work with the crates that we had, and can we make them work, or do we need to get new ones? And it's just by talking to the group and the other franchisee of what ideas have they got, because for us, and one thing Ritchie told me, which was really important, which I didn't think of at first, is, the van is really what the customers see when you pull up, and you'll be surprised how many come out to the van and talk to you, and they see a van and how good it looks. And my van looks good because it was helped, and the software for the design of the van was these guys. And I'm often commented on how good it looks, especially by the customers, because now it's a new van. My customers are seeing it and saying it, that looks good, it looks professional, which is what we want, and that also brings in more business. I think I've got about another 6-7 customers since I've started, and they're regulars. Every day I've got them, and that was through the marketing.
And how many hours a week do you work? I guess you can choose the amount of hours you want to work, and if you had more demand than you're able to do yourself, would you be looking to hire other people to help out?
I think for me, because I'm still, I don't want to say learn it, but I'm still picking up stuff and still picking up, well, that's a better way to do it, and this is an easier way to do it. But for me, it's just really steadying myself out, learning what I'm doing and enjoying it. I don't really, at the moment, I wouldn't go for it. But, for me, my hours at the moment, I run 8 till about 5, my last walk is. But you always get the customers that ring you up, and, I do try, and me for weekends isn't what one I aim for, but there's always your regular customers that ring up and say, oh, can you help me out Saturday or Sunday? And I do, because that's what that they want, and that's what the customer wants. And the thing is, the world is, you don't want to let them down. You're there to support them, and it's important that they know that we're there for them.
So if they're away or whatever, you might be able to do that. And do you just do dog walking, or do you do some of the other services?
I do the small animals, and I do a field. So I pick up in the day. I've got a dog walk in the morning, sometimes solo walks. Then I do my rounds to pick up for the field, and we go to the field, which is amazing fun, especially when the sun's shining. But and then I do walks at night, and I've got rabbits and cats that I also look after, which have come on since we've done a marketing scheme around the cats visits and that sort of stuff. And the guy's done it. I've sent it out, and I've got 2 customers from it. Yeah.
And you must establish, both you and Ritchie, I guess you have a great rapport with the animals that you're walking or that you're looking after, because you're both going to do a walk afterwards, aren't you, straight after this?
It's funny because me and my wife, we always speak. I never actually say the customers' names. For me, it's always Woody's mum and dad or Morgan's mum and dad. So it's always, for me, I always they're it's them, they're my friends, and they're the ones that we go out with. So and my wife says, well, Woody, I say, oh yeah, and I don't say the name, so it confuses me sometimes. But it's they're our friends.
Definitely. Yes. I'm walking a dog called Paddy, the border collie, after this call, and he knows he actually knows the sound of the car when it pulls up outside the house. Yeah. Bearing in mind it's a Kia, there's hundreds of Kias on the road. This must just have a slightly unique sound to it, and he's there waiting for me at the door, and he just gives you the biggest welcome. And it makes your day, doesn't it, Danny? When you see these dogs at the door and they give you the greeting that they do, it's just wonderful.
Yeah, some of them are waiting at the window. The minute they see you, they're gone. They're by the door.
It's so satisfying. It must be so satisfying as a job, rather than like pen pushing or whatever. Like you've got, an animal that's really loves going out for walks with you.
I think for me, it's because you want to do it. So you don't get that. Oh, it's Monday. It's it's Bobby, and then I've got to go and get the rest of the gang for the field. So for me, it's different because it's what you want to do. It's your business. It's your business with loads of support if you want it. So for me, it was a big tick.
Well, I'm going to go to the questions now. So please do put any questions in the chat that you want us to ask Ritchie or Danny. And I see the first one here is, how do you find the right location for a pet business, which is a really interesting one for you, Ritchie?
Yes, yes. So the location is very much where you're based. So the territory that we allocate is very generous. You know, we don't say it must be a certain number of households. What we do is we speak with you, because we're not looking at the volume of franchisees. We're looking at the quality of franchisees who want to work for themselves hands on. So wherever your area is, we will look at assigning you a really generous territory where we know there'll be a good amount of demand. And what we also say is something that we can agree, right? So we'll chat with you, and you'll know your area better than us. So really, we take your sort of knowledge of the area and allocate the territory accordingly. But just know that it's very generous, and we make sure that there's going to be enough demand there for you to provide. To run a business really, which will give you the business you want, which is a thriving business which you enjoy running. So we're very flexible on the territory.
So is there anything else that you do to gauge demand in a particular area? I guess in Danny's case, there was already a business there that you took over from. But if it's a new area, like the West Midlands one that you mentioned,
yes,
how do you're just are you basing it on the person, the franchisee, the potential franchisee, knowing that there's a lot of pets in this area and there'll be a big demand?
Yes, so actually when we recently onboarded Steve, our new franchisee, we had a frank conversation. So I did a lot of analysis beforehand in terms of the number of households in the area, and also, having run PHG Southampton, we know that if you stretch yourself too far, to say beyond 5 miles of where you are, 5 miles is actually quite a large radius, because if you go from one side to the other, that's 10 miles. Now, we absolutely can allocate that kind of territory. What we want to do is just make sure we understand what you want from your business first, and we sort of map out the territory, and then we see how many households that's likely to give you. And if it's looking like you're going to get over 15 to 20,000 households, then brilliant. If it's not, then we absolutely are flexible in extending the area out. But just know that our priority is your enjoyment in running the business. So we just want to make sure we set you up for success from day one and give you a territory which works for you, where you're not traveling miles each day just to get from one job to the next.
Yes, you don't want to be sort of driving all over the place all day. Yes, because then you're losing, the opportunities. So another question here is, how do you support new franchise owners in their first few months? I guess that's how many times, what's the kind of check-ins and all of that kind of thing that you give people?
Definitely. So from the moment you decide to join, we have a very comprehensive onboarding program. Now, what we like to do is set you up for success from day one. So when we know you want to join, we have set intakes every year. So our intakes each year are at the end of April, the beginning of the summer, and the beginning of October. So depending on when you decide to join, we know how long we've got for your onboarding to get you going, so that to come the training weekend on our intake, you can go live from day one. What we want to do is for you to be able to hit the ground running and set you up for success. Now, this is a path that Amber and I have walked when we launched PHG Southampton. We know we've been in those shoes before, and we know what works. And we've even modified that since then to make sure we're actually really setting you up for success, even more so than when we had it in 2018. So the onboarding program is extensive. You get a range of online qualifications, which are paid for by PHG, practical shadowing opportunities, your graphics pack website, social platforms, Google platform. You'll have 5 PHG branded t-shirts and a very comprehensive personalized portfolio, along with equipment to get you going as well. So come training, we cement everything together. It's a very comprehensive 2-day training weekend where we culminate everything you've learned in your onboarding, and that's when we introduce you and go into detail into our blueprint and the PHG standard. So the PHG standard is what we use to separate ourselves from the competition. Now, you will see competitors in your area, and that's a good thing, as I mentioned earlier, because there's a market for our services. but it's what we do to separate ourselves from the competition, which is the big game changer. And that's what we run through during training. And then come go live, you've got the tools, practical experience, theoretical experience, and a very comprehensive portfolio, which will very much impress your customers to run with. You'll have a digital marketing campaign and also a very comprehensive marketing plan tailored to your business, which you can then run with, and we're there to support you as well. So every step of the way, Amber and I will be there to guide you. And on launch, one of us will come up and actually join you for the day, and we'll help with getting yourselves out there in the community and really getting yourselves known to local businesses and to areas within your town where we know there's a large pet ownership. So what we'll do is we'll post flyers. You'll be in your uniform, you have your business cards, you'll have your magnetic strips on your vehicle, and it all just points to a very professional business, which sets you up for success from really very early on.
Yeah, great. And then how long? So you mentioned the 2-day training weekend. Is that in person? Are you going?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. It's in person.
In Southampton? Or?
Yes, in the Southampton area, because what we tend to do is with the intake, there's people coming from various parts of the UK. So we host the training in our area, and it's as Danny said as well, we cover the blueprint in detail, but we also personalize the training to the questions that you have in any areas of the business that you'd really like some more support with. We provide that as well. And it just allows you to hit the ground running with confidence the moment you come out of training.
So what's the usual sort of time period? You talked about the shadowing and as well and other things. What's a normal time period between the training weekend and actually starting up where you come along for the launch day?
So launch
does it vary?
Yes, launch day is immediate. So because of your comprehensive onboarding program, assuming that you've managed to get everything done in your onboarding, and I know you would make sure of that because you're investing £3,000 joining fee and your commission of 9.5% turnover every month, you're invested in this. Of course, you're going to make sure you're set and onboarding. So the moment you finish training, your business is live. You could, in theory, take on a customer from day one. We've set you up for success for that reason, because what we don't want is for you to come out of training with all of this knowledge and not be able to do anything with it. Think, I've still got to set up a business bank account. I've still got to get insurance in place. I've still got to do this. No, that should already be in place come training. So come launch, you are good to go. Now, what we'll do is during training, or in fact during the onboarding process, we would agree on a date well in advance on when either Amber or myself comes up to join you. And it just helps. It's nice to have someone there with you, knowing that someone's got your back. Because I did it. I remember going out in the community, and it is a little bit nerve-wracking. You're getting yourself out, you're putting yourself out there in front of businesses. And if you're used to being in an office, that's different. So to have someone there with you, handing out the flyers with you, and we'll have some lunch during the day as well. It will be a fun day, but it's just nice not to know, to know you're not on your own in that process. So
the training comes. So the training comes at the end before the launch. But what would be the average time? Maybe there isn't an average time. It might not be an answer to this. Between somebody showing a potential franchisee showing an interest, maybe coming to a franchise show and like taking a leaflet or whatever it is, and actually like signing up and then doing the training weekend and then starting the business.
Yeah, so you could do it in as little as 4 weeks. So let's say you're interested in our intake at the end of April. You decide you want to join at the end of March. So 4 weeks could be more than enough time. If you allocated a few hours a day between the time you join and the time you train, so 3 hours a day for 4 weeks, that should give you everything you need to have your business live and running. So you've got 2 days training, and then you're live and running. So in theory, from the moment you decide to join to running live, it could be as little as 4 weeks before you get your first customer.
Thank you. And so there's another question here that's come in, which is what plans does PHG have for expansion in the next few years?
Yes, so our plans are very much aligned with how the values of the business operate, which are with family run. We will never change that. We would always be family run as long as Amber and I are running PHG, because it's what we loved when we were franchisees ourselves. So our goal really is not numbers, it's about the quality. So if we only took on 2 franchisees a year or 0 franchisees a year, that really isn't too problematic for us. It's about having the right franchisees who align with our values. Okay, there's no specific number we have in mind. I want our franchisees to enjoy what they do, and also it's important that every franchisee is providing that level of welfare and care to the pets and service to the owners, because ultimately we're all representing a brand here, and it's important that we do everything we can to protect it. So if you come in and join the PHG family, just know that we aren't there to try and make millions of pounds. We're absolutely not. We are there because we love the brand, and we just want the right people to join the franchise.
Okay, great. So it's about the people, having the right people. Yes. I think you've answered this question already, but it's about marketing. How important is marketing when starting a pet business? And you've said about digital marketing and sort of marketing packages that you give people. I guess some people might find that a bit, if they're not used to that kind of thing, they're thinking, oh my goodness, social media.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's Danny, I know you mentioned this as well earlier. The word marketing, it's not one I've ever liked, really. It's a corporate word. We aren't a corporate brand at all. But effectively, if you think of it like this, it's about getting your business in front of the right people. So there's so many pet owners across the UK. It's simply just making them aware of your existence. If you think about it like that, really, it makes things a lot simpler. So during training, David Hardisty, who is the guy, he builds your website and he also operates the marketing side of the business. He will actually attend training on the second day and run through your marketing campaign in detail. So there's the digital side, which involves, of course, your social media and Google. But then you've got the side which a lot of businesses forget about, which is actually getting yourselves out in the community, flyering, leafleting, and making yourselves known that way. And there's many strategies which we will run through during training on your marketing, which will allow you to adopt those old school methods, because from our experience, even in 2026, those methods work well, and we know they're there to stay. So you have a very much a multi-pronged marketing campaign, because if you attack this at multiple angles, what will result is you getting the customers. Now, once you've got those customers, you've got a customer for life. It's important that you follow the PHG blueprint, because, of course, everything we do blows our customers away. They just cannot believe the level of service and care we provide. So they then become your marketing advocates. They promote your business to their friends and family. And there's all sorts that we do to really make sure in the early days you have a good foothold in the industry, in your area, which then builds a solid foundation. And what you find is actually creates quite a nice snowball effect. So you can cut back on your marketing expenditure in the first 3 to 6 months and then rely more on organic marketing, which takes just time instead of money. Okay, so marketing is either traded in 2 currencies, money or time. So initially, it's both money and time. We recommend anywhere from £2,500 to £3,000 for your first 6 months invested in marketing, and that's just to get that foothold. Once you've then got the foundations there, the snowball effect begins to occur, and organically you're able to bring in new business.
So that's organically, by that you mean things like word of mouth, basically somebody just recommending, like.
Absolutely. And word of mouth is powerful, very much so, but there's also other things that we do. When I say organic as well, it's kind of free marketing, so things that won't cost you any money, which are so powerful. And I'm super excited to share that during training as well, because it's just incredibly powerful. And there's things that people will do when they're looking for the right person to care for their pets. As Danny said, when he found Russell walking his 2 dogs, that was a big deal. And when he said he was retiring, it makes you realise, wow, I what are we going to do without him? Those are the kind of customers we're targeting, and the campaigns that we run are very powerful, and it just makes sure that through the premium pricing that we charge, which reflects the position of the brand as a industry leader in the care it provides, it attracts the right kind of customer that we're after.
Can I just add to something to that? Sorry.
Of course, Danny.
So marketing for me, when I come on board, was oh gosh, here we go. But as much as we get the training and you get the questions, as you said, the training is where areas do you need? Only the other day I received something on the forum that Richie's already said about, leafleting but with postcards, and they've designed it, they've set it up and gone, guys, if you want it, let me know and we'll do it for your area. And that's that sort of stuff that comes through that you're not really, you could do that, but these guys do it and they show it to you and let us know if you need it or you want it or interested. So I just thought that was important, because that you get that through on the question earlier on about how long does the training go on for. I got that through and I looked at it and I thought, wow, even this has come through today, which has helped me already. It's good, and because you're out walking, if you're going to do leaflets, you're out anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, put some leaflets.
That's just because it was important, because I thought that was really good when it come through the other day.
Oh, thank you, Danny. And I think that's a point as well. It's long term. So, don't just think about the launch here. People who are listening to us today, it's long term. So, one question was, how many franchisees do we want? It's more, our focus is on, well, how much support can we give our existing franchisees and how much value can we give them? Because we think the world of everybody in PHG, we genuinely do. We all share that same passion. So by continuing to add value indefinitely, the support never really ends, and it's important. And it's so nice to hear that, Danny, as well, because it motivates us to provide the very best value that we can. So we have franchisees for the long term.
Danny, a question's come in for you, which is about what the biggest challenge was for you at the beginning. I don't know if marketing was one of the biggest challenges, or there was something else.
There was two for me. One was, I think, customers, because my past wasn't dealing with customers and payments. So, and like everything, there is some downsides, and some of them is payments. The software is great. The teaching on that on the weekend is fantastic, and they've got a tester where you can play with it and understand it. But what if that customer doesn't pay? Because it's always an awkward conversation. You've gone out, you've done the work, and for me, I went straight back to Amber and Ritchie. Like, well, how do we do this? Because for me, it's very easy to send a text or an email, but you've got to protect that brand as well, because it is our business. So you don't want to lose the customer, and all of a sudden you get a list of, this is how you respond, this is what you want, this is how you do it, this is our advice, and it's all very nicely and done and a very polite way of doing it, and they pay, which is good. So it's all very nice and softly done, and retain the customer. And my second challenge was weather, because as you know, we've had some lovely weather recently. And I think the saying is, there's no such thing as bad weather, it's wear the right clothing. And that, for me, I think I'd done my trial day, and we had rain for 24 hours, didn't we? Which
it was non-stop, wasn't it?
And it just rained, and that was the, but as I say, if you're prepared and you know what to wear and how to wear and how, and part of it is making sure the dogs go back as you'd want them to receive them back, with muddy and clean. And that was mine, just getting used to that, of the standard of what we want back, because that's what it's about, is bringing the pets back clean, and we've done that service, and they're happy. And that was my team.
How are you doing? How are you getting them back clean? Are you sort of giving them a wash down before?
Yeah, well, we've got mud daddies, which was part of the kit that we were supplied in our first. Because I must say that me and my wife was overwhelmed with what kit and how we were shown what the kit worked. But the mud daddy is a how to phrase it, but it's a unit with water in, but you can have warm water with a shower head, and it cleans the dogs, it cleans the paws down, and they go back clean. And that's what Richie was saying about the standard is, we don't want them to run back in on their sofa and be dirty. But how many towels did we get, Richie, with the kit? It was
about 8 towels, I think. Yes.
The actual kit you receive is still, it come in 3 big boxes, and the guys, they met us before our training day to give us it, so we had it ready for the training. So here's the kit, get ready for it. If you've got any questions, bring them to the training. And we did. And yeah, so that was my challenges, and that weren't bad, I didn't think, for someone that's been walking the police beat for a long time to, you know, asking hundreds of questions.
No, you've been amazing, Danny, because, you know, the thing we saw straight away is that you're the same as us. You just love being with the animals, and yeah, you're doing an incredible job, and the reviews your customers are giving you are just amazing. So no, great work.
Wonderful. Well, I think we've got time for just one more quick question. Hopefully it's a quick question. And I think that's for you, Ritchie. It's are you locked into the franchise contract for a certain time period?
No, so you can leave the franchise whenever you want. You know, we want people that want to stay with us for the long term. So yes, you basically, there are restrictive covenants, so you can't just come on board, learn the PHG blueprint, leave with your customers. The customers will remain under the PHG brand, and there are rules around, you know, as per the contract, that you can't just set a pet care business up within your territory that you were with a PHG for a period of 6 months. But no, you absolutely can say you've discovered this wasn't right for you, and actually I want to go back into the workplace. You can leave. You just let us know. Of course, being, you know, the type of person that we're targeting, you know, you would care about the customers and the pets. So what we would do is work with you to try and find someone to perhaps take over running your franchise, so that the customers aren't just being left in the lurch with, you know, with trying to find someone new. But if you did just have to leave, yet, you know, that we would understand. It's not necessarily for everybody, so there's no requirement for you must stay for this time. Now, the franchise agreement itself is on a 5-year contract, and then at the end of the 5 years, we re-sign at the end of that.
Brilliant. I'm going to sneak one more in. It's just come in, which is how many franchisees are running this the franchise business alongside another job, or are most people doing it full time? I guess it's flexible, isn't it? Depends on the person.
That's a good question, actually. Yeah, so the majority of our franchisees do this as their only that's the only thing they're doing. They aren't really running it alongside a job, because I think the type of person that usually comes in are people who want to escape that world. We were one of them, and yeah, the majority of us run it full time. We've had some franchisees that come on board who have wanted to kind of have, like, so we say, a 0 hours contract running in the background, just because sometimes they want to know for sure that they absolutely can make a living out of this before they fully come out of whatever they were working in before. But yes, on the whole, most of them come in full time, and this is the thing that they do as their only source of income. But we understand that if you wanted, so you say, something on the side for a couple of days, that's fair enough. Just bear in mind that your bread and butter is typically going to be the dog walks, which is during the core hours, Monday to Friday. Now, if you're still in, so we say, a part-time job, and you had a customer inquire about walking on the days you're working, you know, just remember that it's about setting yourself up for success. So if you are able to say if you are currently in a 0 hours contract where the hours are flexible, then that makes a lot of sense. So, you know, it's trying to do something that if you have another income stream for the early days, just making sure you set yourself up for success in the right way with your business.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ritchie and Danny. It's been lovely hearing from you. Obviously love what you're doing. And we will be sending out information to everybody who's been on this webinar. So you've got follow-up information, and you can get in touch with Ritchie. Thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, Mandy. Bye-bye.